European leaders have gathered in Copenhagen as Denmark warns that Russia is waging a hybrid war on Europe. The stakes have never been higher as leaders unite to ramp up the bloc's defenses and gather funds against any potential threat. A special radar system has been set up at Copenhagen Airport after unidentified drones forced the closure of the airfield. Around 40 leaders from the wider European political community will join a second summit hosted by Denmark.
I hope that everybody recognizes now that there is a hybrid war, and one day it's Poland, the other day it's Denmark, and next week it will probably be somewhere else that we see sabotage, or we see drones flying, or we see you can there are many different kind of episodes. So I see this from a European perspective. There is only one country that are willing to threat us, and it is Russia, and therefore we need a very strong answer back.
In a show of Europe's security muscle, a German frigate is stationed in the Danish capital's port. French soldiers also had exchanges with their Danish counterparts who received the support of Germany, Sweden, Norway, the Netherlands, Britain, Finland, and Ukraine in protecting leaders attending the summit. French armed forces sent 35 soldiers, a helicopter, and equipment to contribute to anti-drone operations in Denmark. There are 5 key issues that leaders are expected to discuss at the EU table. The first is the quest of ramping up the region's defense capabilities. Bloc will need to decide whether the Commission will lead on flagship defense projects such as the drone wall. Also up for discussion is how to finance such projects, with some member countries favoring joint debt and others Four NATO and European Union countries bordering Russia are planning to build concrete bunkers and anti-drone nets at vital energy facilities under a plan to protect their power grids after recent airspace violations. One of the major points of discussions would be on the frozen Russian assets. Leaders are expected to discuss a proposal to lend $165 billion to Ukraine using Russia's state assets frozen in Europe. Under the Commission's plan, Russia cash frozen since the beginning of the war would be paid out to Kyiv as a loan with zero interest, with Ukraine paying it back only once Moscow ends its war and forks out for repatriation.
However, we need a more structural solution for military support, and this is why I have put forward the idea of a reparations loan that is based on the immobilized Russian assets. The loan would not be dispersed in one go, but in tranches and with conditions attached. And we will strengthen our own defense industry by ensuring that part of the loan is used for procurement in Europe and with Europe. Importantly, there is no seizing of the assets. Ukraine has to repay the loan if Russia is paying reparation.
The question of Ukraine's EU membership is also expected to arise. For Ukraine, the progress in its path to EU membership, all 27 of the bloc's member countries need to give the green light. The only roadblock to Kyiv's EU pathway is Hungary, blocking Ukraine's accession. EU's 19th round of sanctions on Russian and foreign banks and energy companies, including firms from China, the United Arab Emirates, are yet to be approved. And lastly, Berlin's energy grievances. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz might ask to overturn or weaken the bloc's combustion engine ban. NATO countries of Poland, Estonia, Romania, and now Denmark have raised alarm over airspace violations. Poland's Air Force shot down Russian drones that crossed into the country on September 9th. A Russian drone flew over Romanian territory on September 13th, and on September 19th, MiG-31 fighter planes were escorted out of Estonia after an incursion that lasted 12 minutes. Russia has typically denied airspace violations and dismissed the drone overflights as being accidental. Kremlin has warned European leaders that Russia would pursue any individual or country which stole its money and cautioned that the theft of Russian assets would badly rebound on European dispensaries and investment. To the effect, Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a decree that could accelerate the seizure and sale of Western assets in Russia.